Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are two of the Office Blokes.
Where's he? He's on a holiday again, I bet.
No, some allegations came up from 20 years ago with Mike, so he's had to go and deal with that for a bit.
Him and that long-haired, what's it, DJ, whatever he is. I don't even know what he is.
Jonathan Ross, that's the one.
Yeah, he's mate. I actually heard he went to Iran as a part of a swap deal.
I hope we got someone of medium value.
Yeah, we got Russell Brand. They got Mike.
Right. Okay. Time will tell if that was a good deal or not, I guess. Right then, 5 American prisoners have been freed from Iran, arriving in Doha, Qatar.
Yeah, I've been watching this a little bit. So like trying to pay attention to what it is. Is it $6 billion that have been paid?
I'm guilty of seeing a headline and going, "Ooh, what's this?" and then just not reading into it whatsoever. So I don't know.
I know a little bit about one of them. One of them used to live in Dubai, and he's an American Iranian, or an Iranian American. I think he got American citizenship in like the 90s. But he's an Iranian-born person,
right?
Who got arrested. He was to do with. He's into politics. He's a very political type of guy. I think he was into something like anti-nuclear sort of like stuff for Iran. Keep Iran nuclear free.
Right. Yeah.
But he's gone over there. And he got arrested back in 2015, and now along with others, like I say, they were Iranian. But for me to pay money for to have a release of prisoners, this kind of substantial amount.
Well, you don't negotiate with terrorists.
You don't. I'm not saying it's a country. They're not terrorists, are they? As such.
I know, but the reason they say that is because it sets a precedent.
It does.
For now we can be blackmailed,
and that's one of the things that sort of kind of surprised me a little bit. Is and one of them he says now they're heading home, and I'm thinking, well, this guy's born in Iran. One of them lived in Dubai, got an American citizenship. So where's his home? Where's he heading back to? And some of them said they got one to remain anonymous to protect the family in Iran. And I'm like, it's all a little bit like sketchy, when's an American? If it was you and I, or if it was Joe Bloggs in the street, would they be spending £6 billion to get you home?
No, absolutely not. But then you look at, and I know he's a controversial figure, and I'm not a fan of him whatsoever. But you look at Andrew Tate, who is an American citizen,
he is,
and he's going through legal troubles, and has been completely ignored by America and the embassies.
Yeah.
And he's also a British citizen, and the British embassy have turned around and gone, "Nah, mate."
Probably got there. He's not been found guilty of any crime as such. But same with these people, they've not really been found guilty of any crime. It's like espionage or whatever they've been accused of. But they've been in jail for a long time, 8 years in one case, one guy's case. But again, I'm just a bit unsure on this. Is it does this apply now to everybody?
Yeah. Well, that's why I brought up the Andrew Tate thing. I'm not saying guilty, innocent, whatever. I don't give a shit about him personally. I don't particularly like him, but who decides that his case isn't worth taking on, but then someone who's an Iranian citizen but also a US citizen is worth paying billions for? Like where what's actually really going on? I can
just see, I almost got arrested in Iran.
Right.
Remember me telling you the story?
I think so.
People did get. I missed the boat. I didn't miss the boat. I didn't get on it. And the boat, the rudder broke on the boat and it drifted into Iranian waters. And I flew, and I was in Bahrain at the time. I flew back to Dubai, and the ship, they arrested all the people on the ship, and they were all kept there for probably about 2 weeks, maybe more, month maybe. I can't remember now, but they all dressed in grey suits in the news and all saying they all been well looked after and all. They all like Borat, you know what I mean? The way they dressed them.
Wow.
And but it's one of them. But I can imagine if that was the case and I got arrested there, imagine Sunak sat there, cigar in his mouth, he's going, how much? And they're going like 80 quid. And he's like, nope. We don't negotiate. Yeah.
No, there must be more to it. And have they given him money, or have they
$6 billion?
Have they forgiven debts? Because I know there's trade sanctions and things like that on Iran.
I'm not sure.
Is it cash money? Is it like sanctions have been eased? Is it?
I read a couple of not different stories, but I read a couple of different paragraphs where it was something to do with $6 billion paid, but then it's to do with oil as well. It was like an oil trade of some sort. I didn't really pay much attention when it started talking about different things. I just turned it off. Wasn't
the one a couple of years ago where the UK owed someone, a Middle Eastern country, a load of money but refused to pay? And then there was a similar situation with we'll release a prisoner if you make good on your debt of hundreds of millions that we owed them in the first place for like an arms deal or something.
I'm trying to think where it was. I'm not sure it was Middle East though.
Was it not?
I remember
Maybe North
something.
Africa or somewhere.
I remember somewhere when it happened. You might be wrong. It might be the Middle East. I do remember something. You're right.
But these things definitely happen, don't they?
Yeah, but it's above our pay grades. But it's at the same time, I'm just a little bit surprised this has happened.
I wonder if the precedent has been set with Brittany Griner being swapped for the Lord of War guy.
Yeah.
You know, now
that was Russia. That was Russia, wasn't it?
No, I know, but then I mean, Russia and Iran are allies.
Yeah.
But it could also be right.
The funny thing is, I was watching this on BBC, I think it was, or Sky, one of the news channels, and he says when it was happening, he says they're arriving at the 5 Americans are arriving at an unknown location, and they're on a massive fucking Qatar Airlines flight, right? Going through, it says Qatar on the side of the plane.
Could you see the tail number as well?
And you see, it's giving everything. Everything's pointing to Qatar brokered the deal. Qatar, was on Qatar Airways. Everyone was told they're going to fly to Doha, and Sky News or whoever it was, BBC, going taken to an unknown location. I'm thinking it probably means after they get out of the airport, but they could have mentioned that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Last thing before we get into the video, I've been watching this A&E program about addiction. I can't remember what it's called. Intervention. It's called.
Right.
There's clips of it on YouTube, and I've just gone down the rabbit hole of watching heroin addicts having interventions and stuff for some reason. But there was a girl on it who used to party with all the rock stars and stuff. She was like a groupie for everyone. But they were blurring out the faces of all the rock stars, obviously because they've got pictures of them. And one of them was blatantly just Gene Simmons from Kiss, but they just blurred out that little bit of his face. It just reminded me of it with that, where it's like it couldn't.
You can still see the star over his eye or whatever. Yeah.
It couldn't be anyone else. Anyway, just thought I'd add that in there. Let's check this out then. 5 American prisoners freed from Iran arrive in Doha, Qatar. Let's do it.
We have breaking news right now. We are watching some live video here of what we expect to see 5 Americans who spent years detained in Iran now getting off a plane, arriving in Qatar. This is all part of a prisoner exchange between Iran arranged with the Biden negotiation. Each side is exchanging 5 prisoners, so we should soon see Siamak Namazi, Morad Tabez, Imad Sargi, and 2 others getting off this plane. This is part of a long journey for them to come home. Iran and the U.S. are expected to make the actual prisoner exchange there in Qatar, and from there, these Americans will start their journey home. Both Iran and U.S. agreed to not only the prisoner exchange, but the U.S. is also allowing Iran to access roughly $6 billion in foreign oil revenue as part of this deal. The Biden administration says strict guardrails will allow Iran to spend that money only on humanitarian causes.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, we'll only spend on that. Where's that cash?
Yeah.
See that fighter jet over there? We need 15 of them.
So if there's already sanctions so that they can't trade in that oil in dollars, let's say, that might be what the issue was.
Yeah.
And then you just go, all right, we'll allow you to do it if you give us these prisoners. Then the States probably haven't spent a penny in doing this. It might actually be a good move. It's just going to bolster Iran's economy a little bit more, which
it'll give Iran the opportunity to trade the oil, won't it?
Yeah,
to get more money than what they didn't have in the first place.
With oil prices being high, maybe in the States they've been saying for a while, we need to get oil prices down, and how can we do it?
Well, you have a word with Saudi. You have a word with Saudi on that one, don't you? To just produce an extra, billion barrels a day or whatever it is.
But Republicans have argued that this was the Biden administration essentially paying a ransom. The Biden administration has received some criticism for the deal, but again, they have said that the deal puts guardrails in place that are necessary, and that the important part is that these Americans will now finally be making their way home. They've been held in Tehran on accusations of espionage. These are accusations that both they and the U.S. deny. The U.S. has ruled that they were wrongfully detained. So again, part of a larger deal here. And let's watch as they come off the plane now. Again, we are watching 3 American citizens who've been detained in Iran for years, now starting the first leg of their journey home. They left to Iran a little while ago. They're now landing in Qatar. Here you can see lots of hugs, emotional exchanges. They're in Doha, where they're landing in Qatar. They're expecting to make the official prisoner exchange. 5 Iranian prisons will be headed back to Iran, and these American prisoners will then be headed home.
So these Iranians going the other way as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we still have the what's the woman called that was?
Yeah, Nazanin.
Is she still over there in jail, or did she get freed?
I think she got freed, didn't she, not long ago? But that was ongoing for a long time.
Yeah. If you go,
she's Iranian as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them. If you're Iranian, you reallocate your nationality to somewhere else. You relocate, and then all of a sudden you go back to Iran and expect, you know, to be treated the same as what you was as a national there. It doesn't work like that. Not in Iran. It's a volatile country.
Yeah. My mate Stacey was there a few years ago, like maybe 3 years ago. She had a holiday in Iran.
Yeah,
because her brother-in-law, brother-in-law is Iranian.
Right. Yeah.
And like the whole family are. She loved it.
Some lovely places. Yeah, you go to like places like Shiraz, really nice.
The fact that there's 5 released and we're only seeing 3, and the other 2
went to remain anonymous because to protect the family in Iran, it says.
But that makes me think that they were spies. The 2 that want to remain anonymous.
We're just watching to see their reception there. A very warm one for them. They're in Doha, Qatar. And you can see 3 prisoners there walking arm in arm, getting off the plane in Doha, Qatar. They've been detained in Iran for years now. Wrongfully detained, according to the U.S. They were accused of espionage accusations. Both they and the U.S. deny. The U.S. had ruled they were wrongfully detained. There are 5 prisoners, but 2 had said earlier that they don't want to be identified. So it looks like we're just seeing the 3.
The guy on the left.
Coming up.
Can't remember his name now. I'm trying to think of his name.
Of the prisoners?
Prisoner, the guy on the left.
Yeah.
Saimi. The family name Saimi or something like that. I can't remember it. Something like that.
Right.
But he worked for a petroleum company based in Dubai, or based in the UAE, and it makes me wonder if that £6 billion worth of $6 billion worth of petroleum can be traded has to go through. I think it was
his company.
I think it was Crescent Petroleum. Yeah.
There's
probably what it is.
There's always more to this stuff, isn't there?
Yeah,
there absolutely is.
Yeah, if it was British ones, and we were doing that, there'd be Rishi Sunak International opened up a Rishi Sunak Petroleum Company.
It wouldn't be Rishi Sunak; it'd just be his wife,
yeah.
and she'd have.
Yeah.
They wouldn't talk about it over the dinner table.
Yeah.
Bad.
Off the plane for now, but they're in Doha again. This is where the actual prisoner exchange is going to happen. The U.S. is asking for these 5 prisoners back. In exchange, Iran will also be getting 5 Iranians will return to Iran, and as part of the deal, Iran will also get access to $6 billion in frozen oil assets. Now, that part of the deal has been controversial. The Biden administration has received a lot of criticism for it, with Republicans accusing the administration of paying a ransom. The Biden administration says there are guardrails in place to ensure they can only spend that money on humanitarian causes. Yeah.
I know we're pausing it a lot here, but there's a lot to kind of unpack, really, even though there's not a lot to
I don't think they've got much luggage, mate. They've been in prison for 5 years.
But a lot of countries are getting together and stopping trading for oil in dollars, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I wonder if, it's like Iran.
That's China-led, isn't it?
Yeah. It's China-led.
Russia.
I think Brazil as well, aren't they? And I just wonder if we're going to lose the ability to put sanctions on these people to do with oil if we're not careful. So maybe there's pressure to ease sanctions a little bit anyway.
Well, you've got Saudi Arabia still as the largest oil producing country in the world.
Yeah.
And it's when they just can ramp up volumes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never gonna. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think you might still get people like your Chinas and your Russias trying to do their own breakaway.
Yeah.
So I think
you just don't think it'll stick.
No.
Fair enough.
Is trying to assure that Iranians will stand by that. So we, of course, are watching the developments here. They land in Qatar, they will have the prisoner exchange, and then from there, these Americans will start their journey home. But it has been a long one for them, having been in Iran all this time, and so this, no doubt, a relief for them to finally be out of Iran. Not quite back home yet, but at least part of the way there. And this comes amid some high tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The two countries have been locked in various disputes. So there have been some conversations about whether this might affect those relations. It sounds like the overwhelming response to that is no. But this has been a deal a long time in the making. This was not something that came away quickly. For a long time, the U.S. has been trying to get these prisoners home. So a big, big development for them.
I wonder how many prisoners there are around the world that are sort of like just being held.
Political prisoners that were just normal people.
Waiting to see if we could hear anything happening there on the tarmac. But it looks like right now they're going to be headed inside. Again, 5 U.S. prisoners detained in Iran for years now are finally out of the country. They have just landed in Doha, Qatar, where we are expecting a prisoner exchange to take place between the U.S. and Iran. And from there...
3-hour queue now in immigration to get to the front, say visa's wrong, back.
Because you just wouldn't relax, would you, until your feet touched American soil?
No, because for them, they're not. In my opinion, they're not. They are American citizens, but they've lived in America for a number of years. Or like I say, this guy lived in Dubai.
Where are they born?
Iran.
So they got citizenship.
Yeah, they got citizenship.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they got citizenship in I think in the 90s for one of them. The one that I know of. I might be wrong with that. I'm pretty sure it was early 90s. He was only young, like a young kid. But at the same time, then he moved to. Then he's obviously an international businessman with Crescent Petroleum.
Yeah.
So he's moved into international trade and gone and lived somewhere else. So for them, it's normal for them to be in countries like this.
Yeah.
Especially in the petroleum industry. I've travelled to all these countries when I was in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So you go to, it's normal.
Are all these guys quite high level businessmen then?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's they're not. One of them's got a business in, funny enough, Washington DC.
Really?
Which you just read into it. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Prisoners will finally be heading home. Our ABC News contributor and security analyst Mick Mulroy is joining me now just to give us a little more context on the deal. But again, a big relief, no doubt, for these prisoners. They're not quite home yet, but they are now finally out of Tehran for the first time in years. So lots of hugs being exchanged, a very warm reception for them there in Qatar. U.S. family members flew out as well, so you're seeing not only those prisoners that had been detained, but also some of their...
He got arrested when he went to go and visit his mum or his parents in Iran.
Oh, really?
One of them, yeah.
I think we've kind of exhausted the video footage, haven't we?
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen anything new.
No.
I think she needs to take a leaf out of the book of the pundits who did the royal wedding. You know, just find things to say when there's absolutely nothing
going on. Yeah, BMW, Toyota.
Yeah. Oh, nice 5 Series there.
Boss,
I think that's it's not the latest model, but it's it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It's an interesting story. I'd like to see what the see what the opinion is of the American public. Sort of thing, what their take is on it. It's not, like I say, it's nothing to do with me. They're not my money, and it's not. They don't. I'm just here to observe.
Yeah, it's kind of nothing to do with your average Joe in the public, even in the States as well, because like this.
Well, it kind of is. It kind of is a little bit, because if it was them,
where
does it start and stop?
I agree with that, but I think this is obviously on a different level, isn't it? This is like, you know, like you said, they work in the oil and gas industry. They're American, not by birth but by citizenship, and I think there's a lot more moving parts to this just some Americans that have been freed.
It's exactly what it is. I mean, how many people? It'd be interesting to know how many Americans are held captive around the world for different things. Whether they, we don't know if they're innocent or not. We're being told they're innocent, but why a prisoner exchange? And if they're innocent, why don't we do diplomatic discussions with Iran and say we're getting them out, we're coming for them?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know that did their arrests follow some sanctions quite swiftly? So there's some sanctions on the oil and gas industry, and then they just start rounding up.
Sanctions have been in the oil and gas in Iran for years.
I know, but they ramp up and they get eased and stuff.
It's one of them where Iran trades oil around the world constantly. It's still one of the biggest oil countries in the world. But I think what you do is look at people who are going in and out of there. Then obviously, I'm going to visit my parents. Are you? They're going to be suspicious. People coming from countries like America or Britain or places like Western world. So I don't know. I just don't know. I'd be interested to get. And like I say, what was the basketball player called in Russia?
Brittany
Griner. So people like that, where if it's just John Smith in the street and he's been arrested for potential drug trafficking, it has nothing to do with it, and he's innocent.
Yeah.
But he's in bloody prison in Colombia.
Well, how many people are in prison in Thailand because foreign nationals, because the drug laws are very strict there.
But you're breaking the law.
I know, but there's I know of people where there was white powder planted in their wallets by the police while they're being searched, and it's for a bribe. And they're just like, you're gonna do 2 years for this, or you chuck us X amount.
I told you a story ages ago where the guy I worked with, he moved from Holland to come and live in the UAE, and we brought his personal effects over. And inside his personal effects, he had a case of bullets, only a box, but I don't know if you come in a box or a box of bullets.
Anything,
And he got put in jail, straight in jail.
Yeah.
He forgot he was in there. He didn't pack it up.
Yeah,
he got someone to go and pack it from a facility, and he didn't realise he had the bullets. So they found them in the container when it came over, straight into jail.
Wow!
And then deported, lost his job and everything.
Yeah,
new life. He was starting a new life and everything. And now, to me, where's the he gets put in jail. Where's the government then coming over, going, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
This is what's happened. Be reasonable. There's no reasoning with them.
It happened to my dad flying abroad more than once, but luckily he's been picked up at Manchester Airport. Where they've done they have a swipe for explosives or something, and his bag kind of came up, and then they searched it, and there's a few bullets in the bottom of his bag, and he's like, I use that bag to go shooting every week, and then I've just packed it to go on holiday. He's done it twice.
Yeah, lucky he's not going to somewhere like Middle East,
but
some of these Middle Eastern countries.
They picked it up at Manchester. He missed his flight. He was detained for a few hours while they investigated, and then he was let go. But like a simple mistake could land you in a lot of trouble, couldn't it?
But I think I think this is high. This is more high end things we don't know what's been going on this.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what the outcome is and get people's opinion. Like I say, from straight from the people it matters to.
I think some of the outrage with Brittany Griner as well was, I think allegedly there's a Navy SEAL in prison in Russia as well, and people were saying,
what about him?
He's more, he's done more for the country than a sports person.
Well, that's it. We only see portions of it of what the value is. But at the end of the day, it's the value of a person. Yeah. And as an American citizen, he's someone who's watching that saying, well, I know someone who's in America. He's been American, born in America. Where these guys, some of them, the one I know of, he wasn't born in America. Yeah. He was born in Iran.
Let us know what you think of that in the comment section. Keep it friendly though, no arguing and stuff, because I can see a few people kicking off about this sort of thing. But it'd just be interesting to get your opinion. So let us know.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.